Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Cheryl here, and today I will demonstrate for you how you can create dramatic lighting and shadows using watercolors. We begin by laying down a wet wash onto our paper. This creates the soft background against which we will build the rest of our painting. To start, I wet the entire page thoroughly with clear water first. Once my paper has thoroughly soaked all the water, I lay down my colors. I vary the hues and the tonal range to make sure I have variety in the painting. Additionally, I splatter some darker shades onto the sand to give the impression of particles. I do this with the darker colors. So splattering the darker colors means I'm mainly using burnt sienna and ultramarine deep. The palette that I'm using for this painting is truly a very limited one, so the only colors I have with me are ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, yellow ochre, and indigo, and this is enough to get a huge range of values for my painting given that indigo is a pretty dark color. For my second layer, I work around the leaves and lay these colors down to make the leaves stand out. For this to work, you have to wait till the first layer is completely dry before proceeding with this part. So I go around the leaves, I keep building the shadows, and I know I have lost the impression of sand on the left side because now it almost looks uniformly brown. However, I can get the sand-like look back towards the end of the painting when I use white gouache to splatter. Since gouache is opaque, I can still see the sand particles after applying gouache even though it's white in color. So here I start to work around my second leaf and I lay down the shadows that you can see. I create a hard edge towards the bottom of the painting in its current orientation, and this is because I have a rock over there and I would like to have a clear dark edge over there. I splatter some more dark colors to make sure that I have some variety on the dark area of the painting. Next, I start to build the shadows on the leaf. I use burnt sienna with varying concentrations of water so that I have a tonal range that looks more natural rather than a solid block of color. I blend out the edges wherever necessary and keep a few edges hard to give the impression of stark lighting. Next, I use indigo to lay down a very harsh shadow on the ground adjacent to my first left-hand side leaf. This needs to look like it's separate from the ground and separate from the leaf as well. So I'm keeping some distance between the leaves and the shadow. I've built this cast shadow on the right hand side, and on the left hand side I would completely cover it in indigo, I think, because I would like this to really stand out. It is through building contrast that you make objects in your painting stand out. You leave some areas dark and the adjacent areas, if they are light, you can clearly see the demarcation between the parts of the painting. Adding the stem and the shadow of the stem on the ground gives a more natural look, and if you miss this one, you are probably missing on a good opportunity to make the painting look more realistic. I add the shadow for the second leaf as well, which is casting onto the sand, and then I work on the shadows on the surface of the leaf with more indigo. In watercolors, we always work light to dark, so first I use burnt sienna, and once I had my lightest shadows, only then I laid down the indigo for my darker shadows. Near the veins is where I applied my masking fluid, so I lay down some more darker shades over there because that would make it stand out after I remove the masking fluid. At this stage, we can see that the painting has started to come out together already, and the leaf and its shadow look quite realistic as they are now. However, we would like to take this a step further by darkening some of the shadows to increase the contrast. I also add the shadow beneath the rock near the top of my painting. Let's also paint around this leaf so that it's clearly distinct from the sand. I then proceed to draw this crack onto the sand to give it a more natural look. Another crack right adjacent to it, and I use indigo for this. I add some big circles using burnt sienna and continue to splatter and make more hard lines because in any painting what we like to achieve is a balance between the hard lines and the blended out details. If it's too blended out, it might look almost airbrushed, whereas if it's too hard, if there are too many hard edges on your painting, that would make it difficult on the eyes. But we want to strike a balance where it's somewhere in between, and that's what we aspire to do in every painting. Layer by layer, we build more shadows wherever we see the need for it. I finally use a toothbrush to add some more splatters and a brush pen to deepen some of the shadows. It's not necessary to use brush pen though. You could also just use your burnt sienna or indigo for this reason, but I found it convenient and had a brush pen in hand anyway, so decided to use it. I make the areas near the demarcations and the venations of the leaf very clear because this is where we'd like it to stand out. The veins need to stand out first, and the demarcation between the sand and the leaf needs to stand out, so that's where I place my darkest colors. With this, our painting is ready. As our final step, we remove the masking fluid, and just before I remove the masking tape, I also add some yellow ochre to my leaves and accentuate the stems of the leaf. And this is our final stage before we remove the masking tape, and our painting is ready. I hope you enjoyed this painting process with me, and I really look forward to see you in my next video.